Welcome to Starfleet Universe On Call. I am Paul Franz, owner of Franz Games. I run SFU Online, FedCom Online, and Starfleet Warlord. Just a reminder how to join us with a talkcast every Thursday. I start at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can either call on the phone, just dial 605-562-0444 and just follow the directions. The call ID is 17702. Or you can participate on the web. Just go to the TalkShoe website, www.talkshoe.com, and search for call ID 17702. But if you want the best online experience, then you want to go to twitch.tv. Yes, twitch.tv/SFU on call. And you will find us there and be able to join the wonderful chat room there. And of course, if you need to contact me for any reason, my email address is sfuoncall@gmail.com. It's sfuoncall@gmail.com. Also, you want to follow me on Twitter, feel free. My podcasting account is SFU on call. Big surprise. And of course, I have my personal account, which is Paul Franz, PaulFranz. There's no T in that. And also my business account, which is Franz Games, FRNZGMES. There's no T in that, of course. That will let you know what's going on when it comes to Starfleet Warlord, SFB Online, and FedCom Online. And of course, this lovely talkcast gets turned to a podcast available on iTunes and various other feeds around the net. When it comes to news from ADB this week, it's still very quiet, but I'm sure Steve Petrick is still working hard on completing the Orion Master Starship book. Also, this week I found an online store. It's Call to Arms Starfleet Book 1.2 Deluxe Edition, $29.95. And Call to Arms Starfleet is a game of space combat in the Starfleet universe. Throughout humans' space age history, the United Federation of Planets has explored the octant of space it is in, and has become a pressure from enemies who sometimes become friendly. Other times, it is war. Now you can play out these confrontations on your tabletop with fleets from the Federation, Klingon Empire, Roman Empire, and one of the many other empires, including pirates. Yes, pirates. Found in the Alpha Octant. From skirmishes that include just a few destroyers to a large fleet. And Call to Arms is what you need to make your own history, test your own skills, and choose from the Federation, Klingon, Romulan, Sindhi, Gorn, Tholian, and Orion pirate ships. You can protect convoys of civilians shipping, or choose to fight in one of the concluded scenarios, or create your own. You can even run a campaign using these ships. And one of the great things actually with Call to Arms is it's designed to be used with miniatures. That's the size class, the kind of things that you want to buy and paint up. And it's really cool when you do that. Actually, I got to buy some more miniatures myself. Moving on forward to the SFB Online tournament, that is the Sapphire Star 16 tournament. Round 2 is 3/4 completed. I lost, as I mentioned last week, and also Peter Bakija played against my opponent, and Peter Bakija also lost. He was flying the Hydran, and I feel sorry for that, just because I didn't give a really good write-up, and basically the Romulan repeated his maneuvers for the first turn. Sometimes, you don't know that much about the player. He could have done one or the other, but I'll probably be discussing that more later in the podcast. When it comes to the libraries, actually there's no updates, though. Looks like there are some fixes that I need to post. I will be posting those this week. Those are for SFB, and there's definitely no updates for FedCom. No, we do have a couple that we're going to try to get Steve Cole, because it looks like there's some that are missing. Surprise, actually. I was shocked to find out that we have a couple of ships that are missing from the library. And we actually have, I need to actually, reminds me, I got to reply to the guy on Facebook about it, that we're trying to get things moving so that he can actually have it It'll be part of the library, but part of the online library, which is only usable online because it's missing a lot of stuff which you need to play offline. So with that, that is the news for this week. And it's me, yes, the one and only Paul Friends, welcoming you to Starfleet Universe on call. And tonight we have with us Jeff. How you doing, Jeff?
Good evening, everybody. It's been a little bit, hasn't it?
Yes, it has been quite a bit longer than I ever had expected. Of course, what was the last thing I heard was your truck was in the shop? I think it was.
Oh God. Well, I'm in a different truck now. This one's permanently assigned to me, not a rental. And I have consumed enough ethanol on my days off that I have purged the memories from my consciousness.
Uh, okay. I'm glad you got a new truck. Oh, holy cow!
Yeah.
And we have Doug. How you doing, Doug?
Hi, I'm here. How's your truck, Jeff?
It tripped over 10,000 miles a little earlier today.
Wow.
How long have you had it?
This one, 3 weeks.
Damn.
Uh,
That does not include the 2 weeks I took off for a vacation off grid.
okay. Hey, what are you doing Labor Day weekend?
I don't know yet. Crystal ball's still in the pawn shop. I didn't foresee a need of using it. Um,
If you think you might be able to pull some loads that put you on the East Coast near Harrisburg, we have our convention that 3-day weekend.
yeah, that might be interesting if I can swing it. Right now, I'm trying to make sure that I don't blow up my tentative day off plans for the 8th of April
Okay.
because I'll be home and the zone of totality goes right over Little Rock.
Eh,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
just to throw in the plug, we got the contract signed.
Oh, good.
So Gamers of Summer is on at the same place we did Gamers of Winter and Gamers of Summer last year.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good to hear. I assume the Gamers of Winter paid for itself.
Yes. Uh, with generous donations from some of our board gamers and our GMs and a whole bunch from the role playing guys who basically really love our event because they go out to this kind of event all the time and they've been with us since
Oh, jeez, yeah,
what our third event maybe third
yeah.
or fourth
It's
event.
been a while.
It's been
I
over
don't
10
remember
or
one
12
they
years.
have not been there. Let's put it that
Well,
way.
let me put it this way. They were not D&D 4E was I think the thing at the time when they came to us. And who I think it was Wizards of the Coast that owned D&D at the time, not Hasbro. And they were doing the Living Greyhawk World um, feedback loop with the owning company as part of that whole big uh, corporate D&D world before that support stopped. And when the support stopped for that, they did their own version of it and came back even though they had less people.
Right, because originally that was a countrywide kind of thing. It was correct.
Yeah, the way that worked was they had a network of GM groups and they put out modules at different conventions. They would have multiple events, multiple different modules at the events, and they would take the feedback from each one of those module series and loop it into another set that they put out either for the next season or next convention. I'm not sure what the time frame on it was, but this particular group of guys, and they're from Gettysburg, they started off, I think they called themselves the Regulators at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and they they went to like different conventions to do this. They'd go to Gen Con to do it. They went to PAX. They went to Origins. They went to all sorts of different places. Oh, nice ring. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, and it wasn't just the guys from Gettysburg. It was a nationwide thing.
Hmm.
So if you went to a convention in San Francisco or LA or New York or Wisconsin or wherever, you could participate in that.
Right. And that was all
And
brought into to the same kind of universe,
yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
and then yeah, then it was either I forget if it was Wizards of the Coast buying it out or if it was Hasbro buying it out, but there was a corporate shift around, and it may have just been a decision by whoever owned the game at the time and not part of a buyout like new ownership, where they cut all support for the Living Greyhawk world, and basically they let that die. But these guys in Gettysburg, they said, "The heck with that. We're gonna continue on.
Yeah. We're having
We
fun.
like
We want to
this."
keep going.
Yeah, and they're doing it even to today under the title of War Duke Press. They're on Warhorn. If anybody is into that listening to us, they can look them up there. Um, I think they could be like a fascinating topic of a podcast all by themselves. So there's that.
Oh, understood. Of course, it wouldn't be
But
related to SFU at Star for the
they
Universe at all.
they
So,
they they have been incredibly supportive
oh,
since the especially since the pandemic or scandemic or whatever you want to call it a few years ago, when that really killed our numbers. Um,
mhm.
their guys were the ones that stepped up and made sure that we at least broke even on it. Because I haven't been running this to build a small empire. I've been running this for what, 16 years now, roughly.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, and you've been there for what, every single one,
I,
I believe, unless you were sick once.
right.
Um, yeah, so you've been there every single year. Thank you, Paul.
You're
And
welcome.
it's our substitute for driving to Origins, apparently.
Yep.
But
Holy
no,
cow! Some of those
it's
trips.
an interesting and wonderful thing to watch. The thing that with this one is we did break even on Sunday, um, and so I was able to, with the pre-reg, pay them off on Monday
Awesome.
completely.
That's great.
Which
That is
they get
fantastic.
paid, they're happy. We get to like continue.
Hmm.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that's
Agreed.
always the way
And
these things should go.
yep. And of course, the D&D people, they're happy because they still got a place to come.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
they do their thing at other conventions too, and I feel like kind of honored in a way that they chose to step up on our small event and say, no, no, we really like your event that much that we're throwing extra money in beyond what we've already paid.
Yeah. And they're
And
the ones who
for and
suggested you increase the price of.
yeah, and it's like, and I said I haven't raised the price in years, and okay, when I doubled the price, basically, it's still basically around the cost of a day at Origins or something, any major convention.
Possibly cheaper than Origins for a day. Because dang man.
Yeah, or Gen Con. Yeah, because those places are they're the funny thing about them is they're big nonprofit organizations, but they're also huge cash cows.
Hmm.
And I got to look at their numbers once. Yeah, they pay a small fortune for their space,
Yeah. It's pretty
but
much the
they
whole
also
convention
make,
centers that they take. So
yeah, they take up an entire convention center for their 5 to 15,000 people they get. But on the other hand, they make a small fortune. So they are able to pay staff full-time living wage. But then again, there's that. Yeah,
Right. Mhm.
yeah. I
Understood.
wish I could do that, but
Oh, understood. Understood.
I'll probably go to the grave long before that happens. So, on a more pleasant topic, are we going back to talk about the Monster Mash here?
Yes, actually, I wanted to talk about something really quick before that, which I'm sure you all would appreciate, which is I want to just talk about Spartan, Jeff Clark, versus Peter Bakija. They did a quick write up. And the only reason I want to bring this up at all is that I kind of feel bad for Peter. In that Peter was in the Hydrant versus the Firehawk. He got his butt kicked really quick.
Uh, is that the one? Is that the sequel round to your fight, or is that a
Yes.
different fight?
Yeah, that's a sequel to that's the next round after Jeff beat me. Um,
And then he got slapped.
he got slapped in the hydrant. The one thing that I feel bad about is that because I didn't do a really good write up. Of course, my write ups would take. I mean, I've done write ups before, and even in my bad write ups, they take me hours to write up these simple little things. Of course, as I mentioned before, I think Peter and other people who actually do a lot of these write ups, they actually take notes during the game, and I'm kind of lazy in that regard.
No.
Yeah, it happens.
I
But
found the system
don't you
log
have a
can be
record
useful
from
for
the
that.
game that tells you
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
did?
definitely. But I still have to go back to the game instead of having notes saying, okay, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened.
Right.
Yeah, what was that, Jeff?
I said sometimes the system log can be really useful if you go and you dig it, you look at on this impulse this happened, on that impulse that happened, and sometimes that'll jog my memory when I'm trying to figure out what happened.
Oh, agreed. I totally agree there. And Jeff did something smart in that each and every game, he went to the same game room. And because of that, there's a log file that's actually written to the hard drive of the computer and just add it onto that log. So if you want to, you can just take that log and you can read it and you look at it.
And just for clarity, the Jeff he's talking about is not this Jeff.
Right. It's Jeff Clark who's in Japan.
Right.
And which I mentioned before, that makes things difficult because of he basically plays in the morning or on 7 o'clock in the morning, and East Coast time it's like 5 o'clock now. Fortunately, I'm East Coast. I can't imagine what a Pacific Coast player would do.
Cry.
Possibly cry. I'm not sure. If, my guess is that they'd have to play on the weekend sometime, and that'd be the only possible opportunity where basically he's playing in the morning and they're playing at night. I think that's the only way that would work. But anyway, okay, going back to okay, because I was reading, I read through this earlier today, and to turn one, what happens? Peter says, "Oh, he was assuming that the ROM was going to launch an enveloper." And when he said that, it went, possibly. He might have changed up things, but no. What did he do? Okay, Peter had planned on trying to get a range 8 shot with fighters supporting range 9 or so, applied 31 till 8, 16, then till 24, and then 26 until the end. Hi, Kitty. Okay, fine, that's great. He had standard hellbores and this is right side fusion arms? I thought there was start. No, they don't start arm, do they?
No, but your weapon stat is 3, so you're on final turn of arming if you want to be.
Yeah, and these are single turn arming weapons.
Which
I think
are fusions? Yeah.
yeah, fusions, yes. Two,
I think you can have them stored at standards.
yeah, yeah, and he had 2 weasels, which is a good thing for a hydrant. And he put 2 in the tractor. The Firehawk came in at speed 19, crossed the bow immediately, slowed to 16, slows to 6. He slows down to 16. Also, Peter slows down to 16. And they end up doing simultaneous movement, which is annoying as heck. That's the good thing about having the LDR is that it had a better turn mode. And we actually got to that point where we were going the same speed. We were going speed 19, both of us. No, it was 9. It was 9. And I was beating him. But we both had the same turn mode as in turn mode of 2 at that speed. He launched his fighters. And then, of course, the Romulan launched 2 standards from 12 hexes, not an enveloper. And I'm looking at this going, I'm willing to bet you dollars to donuts he did the same thing. 1 real, 1 pseudo. And I read onward and I go, yeah. Plasma closes in, and where is it? Oncoming Romulan, 7 lane, the oncoming plasma, shoot him a bit with a couple phaser ones, hoping at least one's a fake. And it turns out, yeah. And take them both with shield number 2. One is a fake, and the shield stays up with 2 boxes. And then at least that's convenient. Romulan speeds up to 27, which is pretty fast because you can't turn. I mean, you can't hit at that speed, which is an unusual speed to go. My guess is the reason why he went to 27 was that he figured he'd be faster than a hydrant at 26, that because he probably wanted to stay there for doing a hit. No.
And it could also be the way that the math worked out on the number of moves left in the turn that he wanted to make.
Yep. Then he ends up range 1 with Plasma F. We end up at range 1 with a Plasma F and the Romulan's Hex. My almost down the number 2 shield facing his full number 2. Romulan tractors him for 3 points, launches 2 more plasmas, because it sounds like what happened is that he used his Peter used his reserve power for keeping his shield up. And that's why the tractor got him with only 3 points of power. Then the Romulan launches 2 more plasmas. Fires a couple of phaser 3s, most damaged fighters, and a phaser 3 at me. We slow down to 13 and 12 because of the tractoring. Look at movement chart and see what both move next impulse. So I'm not totally hooked, but I hope I fired him. And so he takes a couple from a phaser 3. My fighter explodes. My fighter returns fire pretty good. Takes down Rom's number 1. Next impulse. He was wrong. It turns out I misread the movement chart, and we don't move. And he takes 70 points, 7 internals, and he's completely gone. He's toast at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the 70 points obviously are from plasma.
An S and 2 Fs.
That will do it.
Yep.
Ramen drops tractor impulse 31 and avoids the range 1 from the fighters, kills it, and a couple of phasers. The fighters fires back, destroy most of Ramen's number 6. We move once more, and he designs that since he had 72 internals and maybe a total of 11 power. The Ramen had maybe 30 internals, while it had no forward shields. That's not enough to remotely pull it out, and I can definitely see that, especially with only 11 power. Even you have both Hellbores, because I don't think he mentions what got destroyed, but 11 power you ain't gonna do much with.
No.
So
I just want to get this straight. Was this the Firehawk? Was this the same player that just beat you in the round we talked about last week?
That is correct.
Okay, so he stomped the Hydrant.
Right. Big surprise.
Okay. Well, but in a roundabout way, that might make you feel slightly better.
Oh yeah. And the roundabout way that makes me feel better is that means I played a decent player if you can actually beat Peter Bakija. But of course, also, and he mentioned at the end, well, that experiment with the Hydrant was a failure. It's like, yeah. And he mentioned at the top actually that he only played Hydrant like 5 or 6 times in his whole lifetime. And I don't think I ever played Hydrant versus Plasma, and so I had no idea what he was doing. It's like, yeah. I still remember to this day, Paul Scott going, I'm going to win the gold hat in a Hydran. Went through it once. Nope, got knocked out. Went through again. Nope, got knocked out. He said, screw this, because he wanted to win. He switched to flying the ISC. He's going, Hydran can't win.
Did anybody ever win that with the hydrant?
No, not the gold hat. No, have been. I know there's at least one rated ace game that a Hydran has won. Obviously, the big key with a Hydran is that you have to make sure you avoid the a Mizia attack, because you got your heavy weapons both in Torp and drone. It's not like the Zinti, where if you knock out a drone, you knock out one of the drone racks, but he still got his disruptors and he still has 3 more drone racks. Now, will it hurt them? Yeah, it'll hurt them but he's got 4 drone racks versus a Hydra which has 2 Hellbores. So in theory, you can knock out both Hellbores in 2 Mizia attacks. Around 10 points apiece, and boom, he's got no more Hellbores. Now, can he still fight? Yeah. In which case, he'll be using his fusions and his fighters. So he can still kill you, even without his Hellbores.
Yeah, and it don't give him a center line range one shot on Impulse 1, because if you do, you'll get everything you deserve.
Amen.
4 suicide overloads and a total phaser hose. Yeah, it'll hurt. Won't be pretty for him, but it'll hurt.
There.
Well, his biggest mistake here was that he worried about a little bit of damage and allowed himself to get tractored.
Yeah.
Yep.
And basically, if he wasn't tractored, he could have outrun those guys, or at least phasered down the Fs.
Yeah.
A bunch of the damage.
Yeah, I think the key here was for him not to get tractored, because of he got tractored, phasing phaser the shield number 2, which already had damage on it, and he kind of just plowed right through that one shield.
Right. I think the other thing is that Peter was trapped in his own plasma tactics. He was expecting to see the enveloper, which he almost always uses.
Right. So he thought, he didn't think of not what Peter do, but what would Jeff do. And that's why as I said, that's why I feel kind of sorry and I feel bad about it, because of, if I would have written, it's possible, I'm not saying this for sure, but it's possible if I would have written up a decent report about how the turns went, he might have had an idea that, hey, Jeff actually does this. He plays the roulette with the pseudos and the reals. Because that's what he...
The flip side of that is he expected something else.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And if not your fault at all, if he had read your thing, I think he might have. It's entirely possible that anybody playing against this guy in the next round might assume that the guy's not going to play the game the exact same way the next time.
Oh, agreed. Oh, I agree.
That's a way to lose too.
Agreed, and definitely you want to switch up your tactics based on the opponents that you're fighting. I agree there, but the reason I said I feel bad is that because of I didn't even give him the idea that, hey, maybe he might not use developers. So anyhow,
but you need to. So
yeah, well,
that's purely between them.
Agreed. Well, onward and forward, we're going to go on to the next SFB monster as we go through the mini monsters that have been created in the Starfleet, well, created or exist in the Starfleet universe. Let's put it that way. And this time it is, the scenario is called Combining of the Orazaz. Dang. And the scenario says critical equipment must be delivered to 2 colony planets, but the supply ship and its extra are intercepted by the Arastoz monster, which is interesting because the monster starts in 4 pieces. The monster, I'm going to stop trying to pronounce it because I'm sure I'm doing it poorly. It's a highly unusual life form that it divides itself to locate prey and then unites to devour the prey, which I think is kind of a neat idea. Which is, the whole idea of I'm assuming it's kind of like an amoeba in that kind of form where it can actually combine itself and so forth. Well, I mean, in that it's not, it doesn't have a fixed shape. I'm not sure what that's called. And there's a term for it, I just don't remember it. Amorphous?
Amorphous.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that would be it.
Mm-hmm. Movement. The monster always follows the freighter. Unless the freighter is destroyed, or anytime one part of the monster is within 9 hex of any part, both parts are immediately begin moving toward each other, and after joining, will act as a single piece, whether they're pursuing the fighter or the ship. So, and depending upon number of parts, it actually slows down. So it's a single part. Each part itself can move speed 14, and this makes sense. To me, this makes sense of why a monster would want to divide itself up, and then out to devour it. Combine together. And that is, you can move faster when it's smaller pieces. So individual parts start at speed 14 as they join together. Go from 14 to 2 parts is 12. 3 parts is 10, and 4 parts are 8. So, what? No. Let me move this, goofball. Excuse me.
Wars continue.
Say hello. Yes, I love you, kitty. You are a spoiled little kitty. Ah. And you have cold ears. So, I love you. Goodbye. And of course, both you and I know he will be back.
Oh yeah, he won't take no for an answer.
Really?
Like,
Really?
no.
What do you expect from he who purrs?
Man, my scritchies.
Okay, you want to stay with me for a little bit? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, make up your mind where you want to get. Okay. Right.
In the way, of course, it's a cat.
Yeah. Okay, local thing. Are you comfy now?
Aw.
Okay. Deaf kitty. Sorry. Bonked him with my headphones. Okay. Obviously, to destroy them as they get together more and more, it gets harder and harder to hit, hard to destroy. In the individual pieces, it's only 100 points to destroy a piece. And damage multiple. I gotta figure that's probably for the attacks. Okay, destruction can be destroyed by hits from any weapons equal to the damage listed. Okay, 2 more combined. Damage previously applied to either part still be counted against the new combined monster. Okay, that makes sense. Due to the inherent instability of the monster's nature, it cannot be fired at from any range over 9 hexes. Yes. Okay. Love you. Goodbye. Oh, yeah. The attacks. At the end of each turn, the player wants to determine how much damage the monster has done to his units. Determining this is determined by using chart G41. Okay, the number of this chart is based on the closest approach unit to the monster is multiplied by the damage multiple to determine the amount of damage scored. G41, is that the lab?
I do believe that's the
Scientific?
TAC intel points accumulation.
Okay, let me look that up. That's definitely 1. 4. Well, it's definitely labs.
Yeah.
Research. Okay. Yeah, it's scientific research. That's what it is.
Yep.
But to me, it's always interesting because a lot of times, let me look at this, which is I gotta look at the victory conditions because invariably with monsters, what they do is you have to first accumulate a certain number of of scientific information about it, and then you go through the victory condition chart for monsters. My guess is this one might not go through that, but still, it uses that chart to determine how much damage and use the multiplier up here. So it's just one piece. It's just equivalent to it, which is not much damage at all, because the closest. What is it? Let me look. I think it was like range.
I think range 4 is
0. Range 0, it can go up to 10. Range 0, it can go up to 10. But that's
range 4 where you're gonna take a point no matter what.
Yep. And that's like a phaser, That's what when it comes to scientific chart, it's like a phaser hit.
Very similar.
Yep. Okay, damage also applied to. Okay, actually, does this have MSIDs or not? Okay, if the unit qualifies for damage from 2 monsters and from a combined monster they formed, they calculate the damage from both separate and combined parts. Ooh, for greater damage. The damage also applied to any sneaking weapons and shuttles within range.
That's worse. That's meaner.
Yeah, so
yeah.
That's meaner than MSIDs.
Yep.
Of course, it doesn't look like you have to gather information on it to figure out how to kill it, because the victory conditions say, effectively, if the cargo gets delivered, yay. If the cargo doesn't get delivered, boo.
Yeah. If the captain delivers no cargo but destroys all 4 parts, the captain is considered trigger happy and will be carefully watched. If the captain delivers cargo to one planet and destroys all 4 parts of the monster, he will retain his command and receive a commendation. If the captain delivers to both planets but does not destroy all 4 parts of the monster, he is considered adequate and retain his command but won't be promoted. The captain delivers cargo to both planets, destroys all 4 parts of the monster, is considered outstanding and will be promoted. If the cruiser is destroyed, the captain should have been commanded to go down with his ship, and otherwise he will be court-martialed. Yeah. Again, because to be honest, this monster.
For Klingons, put that one to the right.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right to me. But actually, this monster doesn't seem too bad overall, because if you can get the individual pieces, which let me look at the beginning of this. We got starting pieces are basically the 4 corners of the map: 0101, 4201, 4230, and 0130. So the 4 corners of the map. That's what this is. So given
weapon status 1 on the cruiser.
Yeah, the large freighter is weapon status 0, and the cruiser of any type is a weapon status 1 and also speed. Both of them are speed 6. Big surprise because I'm assuming that the cruiser is basically escorting the freighter.
Yeah, and close
Yep.
escort. That's well, that would work.
But this monster is not that hard overall because it only
Well,
takes 100 points.
I'm sure there's something in there that hoses you.
Oh,
What's
I'm
that
sure.
multiplier damage to?
Yeah, I agree there because the thing is, what the captain has to do, the way I see it, is he has to go flying at a very high rate of speed. He wants to attach the pieces while they are separate. Now the issue, of course, is that each piece is moving at speed 14. And where's the planets? The planets are located 21, 25, and 07, 11. Wow, that's interesting. Towards the one, because the 07, 11 is upper part of the near the middle of the board, and it's like what? It's within 2 turns. The the part of the monster in 0101 will reach it. Because yeah, it's only like 18 hexes.
Yeah, the way that lays out, you'll rendezvous with the planet 2125 first on your way to 0711,
Right,
and by the time you get to 0711, at least 2 of the 4 pieces will have caught up to you. I imagine drone races are going to be at a distinct disadvantage, simply because if you can't get the drones to hit before the end of the turn, their damage system knocks them down. Plasma races will have an edge because plasma races tend to be able to generate large amounts of damage.
right.
Yeah, this would be an interesting depending on which empire you're flying.
Oh, agreed. And then one thing I realized: the planets don't matter. It's the freighter is that matters.
Yeah.
Though at the same time, the planets do matter to a certain degree because of the freighter has to. Let me look at this because the freighter has to leave off the cargo at the planets. Correct. Da-da-da-da. Right. And there's one
Hold
thing.
on. Where's it talk about the cargo? I think it's on the next
Cargo. There it is. The cargo must be delivered to the player must deliver the critical cargo to both planets. To do this, the player must spend 1 complete turn, or probably consecutive impulses of 2 consecutive turns, next to the planet at speed 0. Can you stop that?
Well, at least it doesn't say you have to drop your shields and use your transporters.
Yep, agreed. But definitely, so wow. That should be interesting. Because it gives you. The thing is, I'm just. I have to look at this because of the thing is. I'm thinking about the monsters, and in theory, if the monster comes from one and goes kind of goes past the planet, that would mean that the freighter has to go past that one part of the monster. Which means that the cruiser needs to be ahead of the freighter to kill the monster before the monster gets to the freighter. Because remember, the large freighters, they don't have that much shields.
They don't accelerate worth a dang either.
Right. It's moving speed 6. And let me think. I forget, what's the max acceleration for a freighter? Is it like 5?
I think it's 3.
It's 3?
It depends. It's either 3 or 5 depending on the size.
Okay. This is a large
It's
freighter.
dirt. It's slow.
Yes. Oh, I know.
It's not going to outrun the monster.
Oh, I agreed there. I'm just wondering how quickly, because I'm assuming the freighter is going to want to hit the pedal to the metal. But
Oh yeah.
and in doing that, the cruiser has to be in front of the freighter, either because that's the thing is that um, the ones that are behind the freighter can will catch up at some point. It's going to take a little bit of time because it's moving speed, minimum speed 6, and the
Don't forget
monsters
the
are moving
freighter
speed 14.
has to stop at a planet for 32 consecutive impulses, and that will give a decided advantage for the globs to catch up and or combine.
Oh, agreed. And that's because what I'm thinking of is that the freighter has to go towards one of the planets. I'm assuming that it's going to go to 2125 first because that's the closest one.
Well, if you look at if you look at the numbers, the 29th column is to the right of the 21st column, and that's to the right of the 07 column's on the left, the 21's in the middle, and the 29's on the right. So you'll be heading that direction. The 2125 is on the way towards 0711 from where you start. So yeah, it's just a matter of what's going to catch up to you and how fast it's going to do it.
Yeah, that's true. Because most probably you're going to want to go to the closest planet, 2125, and stay there. And when you stay there for 32 impulses, that might give
at speed 0.
Yeah, one or two of the parts to catch up. Okay, that's going to be at least 13, which is going to be at least one. Ooh, it's going to be like one turn. Yikes. So the cruiser probably is going to want to turn right directly for the, I guess going speed heading A. It's going to want to turn around actually to go heading C. Go towards the piece that's starting at 4230. And obviously the Fed would have the best chance.
Monsters movement rules.
The monster pieces have to move towards the freighter, unless it gets within 9 hexes of another part, in which case it then focuses on joining that part. Right here. And after joining, then it will go as a single piece. It will go pursuing the freighter
or the ship.
Or the ship. Okay. The freighter is destroyed. The monster will follow the ship.
The freighter. Yeah, but the freighter first. Yeah.
Right.
Well, it is the juicier target.
Oh yeah.
Nom nom nom.
That is true. Okay, and the thing is, attack-wise, it doesn't do that much damage. As individual pieces, it's not until they get combined that it starts to hurt. Because if it gets all 4 pieces together, you're in trouble at that point.
Something you could do is you could tractor the freighter at your maximum speed and the freighter's maximum speed to help speed it from place to place.
That is true. Look down at the victory conditions again.
Here it is.
If you deliver, if you deliver the cargo to both planets, but you don't kill any of the monsters.
Yeah, but does not destroy all 4 parts. He's considered adequate and retains his command.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's the other side of it. It's like, okay, do you have enough time on the map away from these things before they combine to allow you to turn around and generate the amount of points in question?
Right.
Because as soon as the 2 points, the two pieces get together, they keep their
Oh,
they
you
keep
know
their
what?
hurts.
You know what? I just had a thought on this. It's probably a scenario breaker for it. If you can tractor the thing, you can tractor your cargo ship,
The
get
freighter.
it to the first planet, deliver your cargo, tractor it, get it to the second planet. And since the monster has to follow the freighter, have the freighter move at low speed around the planet. Because he's gonna have to, he can't go through the planet. He has to go around it.
Well,
And
if
you
you're
use
gonna think
that,
about that
but you're
after
also
the
going to be
freighter
attacking
delivers at the
with
second
their
planet,
parts.
just have the freighter land on the planet using the powered landing system. Oh, wait a minute. Freighters can't land on planets. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, you deliver both. You can get that as a default if
Yeah.
you're quick with tractoring
Yeah,
your
yeah,
freighter.
yeah. You could. The freighter could enter a standard orbit at that point. Yeah, you're right.
And it doesn't matter about the freighter. I mean, except that the freighter is bait.
Yeah.
So most of your cruisers are going to be able to destroy an individual piece of this thing. Yeah, he loves you. Uh-huh. And man, he's getting big. Yeah. Is that all fur, or does he need to go on a diet?
That's all fur.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, we've had some warm weather here, and Omaha has been shedding like you wouldn't believe. But
Well, I'm
I
glad
think
you
could probably
moved in that
compete
bigger
with
house for Omaha's sake.
Yeah, yes, we do need to someday.
Yeah, Omaha definitely is much happier in the current residence than it was previously. But yeah, the one thing, this victory condition I did not read, and just to let you know, which is if the captain delivers cargo to one planet, does not destroy all four parts of the monster, he's considered marginally effective and allowed to finish the tour duty, but then he'll be retired.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
So, I think you could. I think that's very winnable. It just depends on your tactics.
Yeah, the top part is going to be.
Kinda.
Yeah, top part in my mind is going to be after you deliver to the first planet, getting ramped up again, and trying to make sure that the freighter doesn't get killed by the energy monster, not the energy monster, the pieces of the monster.
Hey, Paul?
Here's the
Yes.
thing.
Scroll up a little bit.
When you deliver to that first planet,
Down or up?
you should be able to kill one piece of that thing before it combines.
Actually, you went up. You went this way.
Yeah, above the diagram of the monster. There's a no, the other way. There's a little blurb about seeking weapons. I was interested in because it starts. No, it's above this. Oh, I'm looking at Twitch,
Oh, you mean
and
here?
so I'm delayed.
You mean this damage is also applied to any seeking weapons?
Yeah, and that continues on the next column.
Right.
Because I think what happens is the seeking weapons actually have the damage applied to them before they're allowed to hit the monsters.
Right. They will only damage the monster if they're not themselves destroyed by this procedure.
And
yeah, because it happens during direct fire.
Well, it's just when does that damage get applied against seeking weapons? Because it sounds like unless you're throwing slug drones or armored drones, armored Type 4s, you're not going to have anything survive more than likely to get to impact.
Yeah, the damage to seeking weapons, including space shuttle, is applied during their turn, but before they hit the monster.
Right.
So,
in other words, it takes precedence.
Yep.
over when they apply their damage.
Right. So I'm assuming that they get a rate since when they land, it's going to be range 0. So that's how much damage they can apply to it.
And the thing is that I think the G4.1 chart indicates that there's only like a 2 in 6 chance that you're going to do less than 6 points of damage. And that's if the monster doesn't. It
Right.
hasn't combined.
Yep.
Yeah, the only way a Type Spore drone would survive if it's not armored would be if you roll a 6 on the procedure. And if any of the if you're looking at a combined monster, well then yeah, forget about it. Seeking weapons aren't going to do a damn bit of good.
I agree. But as you said, the plasma weapons would actually. It didn't. Okay, I'm assuming it's going to be part of the updates. Which
Well, the
is,
other side of that is you could actually land speed 30.
Oh, okay. Here it is.
On it.
There it is. Positive torpedoes treat this damage as phaser damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
So plasmas would not be as badly affected as drones.
Correct.
Shuttles within range, each is rolled separately. The damages. Seeking weapons.
No, that's at the end of the turn.
During the turn, but before they hit the monster or fire their weapons. In the case of, so
right. It's like it sounds like basically they do seeking weapon damage like FedCom.
Yeah. So it's like they get a point blank defense shot, and that makes any of the drone heavy empires all but
no, it doesn't.
all but heavily disadvantaged.
Right.
No, it doesn't, because you could hit the thing before the end of the turn.
Yeah.
If I'm reading this right, if a drone's going to hit the thing on impulse 30, before the drone is allowed to impact, the thing gets to damage the drone.
Right.
Does that happen but it doesn't specifically say when you apply that. Do you apply it at range 1? Do you apply it at range 0? Do you apply it at the range
I'm
4?
assuming,
In the case of Swordfish,
I'm assuming it's range 0 because it says the damage is to the seeking weapons, including seeking shells, is applied during the turn, but before they hit the monster.
Can you scroll that down a little bit?
Me up here? Do you get this?
Top of the next column.
No.
What are you looking for?
Go up a little bit. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I forgot that this gets cut off on Twitch.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
And it says that the drones only do damage if they survive.
Back up.
The damage the monsters do.
You're cutting off the bottom of the paragraph.
Oh.
That's on the bottom
That's
page.
at the top of the next column there above the monster diagram.
Go down a little. There you go.
Yeah, as I said, the damage to seeking weapons, including seeking shells, is applied during a turn before they hit or fire their weapons in the case of swordfish and spearfish. So even if they're going to fire at like range 3, the monster's intuition says, "Oh, it's about to fire at me," and so it has a opportunity to kill the drone before it actually fires. Now,
yeah, but that doesn't make sense because they're also saying that it's all applied, but at the end of the turn based on the closest approach of the things.
Right.
And
at the end of the turn, the player must determine how much damage is done to his units. This is determined by D1, the closest approach for that turn is multiplied by the damage.
So if that means the drones, then they'll get a point blank shot then.
Right.
Yeah. Which means that the only thing you're going to be able to land on them, short of having armored weapons, it'd be a Type 4, and you happen to roll a 6 for the monster.
Right.
Well, what are the odds of a drone survive? Can you build a drone that will do damage to it that could survive while it's still one thing?
You get into the the drone construction rules, and yeah, you can do it. You can swap one of the explosive modules out of a Type 4 with a armor module. It'll make the drone. The drone will take 10 points, I think. It's like 8 or 10 points to kill the drone, but you'll lose half the warhead. You can use an external armor package, and that'll help too. But the thing is, external armor packages are much more restricted and limited than swapping
And
standard
slow down the
explosive
drone.
modules out for. Right. Well, if you've got speed 32 drones for the way you've set the scenario up, that's not that big a handicap. But
Right.
if you've got speed slow drones, it's like, why are we doing this again?
Yeah, you can select whatever year you want, but if none selected, then why 172 is the option. Now, to be fair, also in my mind is that for drones, you would still have to use their drone limitations, the percentages of how much
Right.
cost. In my mind, you can't just load up your ship with specialized drones just for this one.
Yeah.
To me, that's kind of cheating.
That's
really.
the thing. I think anybody but the Zenti can take. I think it's armor module swaps for explosive modules are limited, which means you can take up to 25% of your drone loadout. And externals are very limited, which is 10% or less. And the thing about it is that there's other drone types that would have to compete against. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things. It would be different if the monsters got a range one shot. It would be slightly more survivable to take Type 4s, but yeah, it's just if you're going to fly an empire that depends on drones to do the heavy lifting, you're going to have a hard time.
Agreed. Yeah.
Monster special rules. Oh, did you find something else down here?
Yeah. What it is? These are part of this case.
Monster close in defense.
This is from part of Captain's Log number 38, which is one of those things that Russ included, which actually I really need to read some of this stuff because it gives this background material. And for example, where was it? I saw something that caught me as funny. Where is it? I missed it. I know it's here.
Hold on, I saw something down there. Said, oh, you're looking for something else. Sorry.
Yeah. I think it was. Okay, I don't see it, but it basically said that they don't know why the monster attacks; it just does. Which caught me as funny. Now I wanted to read the quote because I'm sure the quote reads a lot funnier than me telling you. Yeah, background timber like
encounters with the Arastoz are relatively rare. It's not known what precisely invites its attention, as the various freighters that have been attacked have been carrying different cargoes. And that's probably where you're looking. Yeah. We found it where instance where no. Yeah, crazy.
There's no indication that Arastoz comes from. Well, no indication where it comes from. Every known empire, including those of Omega, M81, and the LMC, has had encounters with Arastoz. It is not known if such monsters were encountered by the Andromedan galaxy. Compared to some monsters, such as death probes, encounters are quite frequent. But compared to others, such as the Juggernauts, They're relatively infrequent, about once a month for larger empires. Fortunately, the encounters that matter where lives and commerce are affected are more rare than even encounters with space dragons. All that is known about the Arastoz is based on a scan on them in action analysis of remains of those destroyed. This has done little more than confirm that this is a life form that is capable of surviving the depths of space. The precise mechanism to which it divides, combines, reproduces, feeds, and moves. In fact, everything about its biology remains a complete unknown. The Arastoz has combined separates into subcomponents. When it is killed, the subcomponents themselves are over time break down into even smaller asteroids by mechanisms that are not understood. Wow. So, the rock.
You know, that's why it takes so much damage to knock them out. You're basically attacking rocks.
Wow. Reminds me of...
On the next page down, it talks about their particular version of MSIDs.
Galaxy Quest. That's the movie I'm thinking of. Rock.
One of the best Star Trek movies ever.
Agreed. I enjoy Galaxy Quest. Never give up. Never surrender.
You rolling around on the ground like that help? Yeah, it helps. That's a good movie with Tim Allen. Actually, I was reading a little about Tim Allen, and they want to bring back not Tool Time, though they currently are Home Improvement. They want to bring back people, and unfortunately, the guy who played his neighbor, that you never got to see his face, his whole face. But which to me that made things interesting. I mean, never got to see his full face. Only saw his eyes. Yeah. But to me, that made it quite interesting and quite unique. In that regard, he died.
Aww.
Yeah, but a lot of the actors and actresses, that were involved, they really enjoyed it, and I think they even came back for like a reunion kind of show. And they actually Tim Allen and the guy who played his sidekick on the Tool Time show, they actually are doing something like Tool Time. Yeah, it's kind of whack, but it was fun. But anyway, I think we need to wrap it up here, gentlemen. It's been quite the pleasure to having you guys around and just talking about monsters versus aliens. Sorry, go down that path. Actually, the funny part, I was thinking about that movie earlier today. The reason why I was thinking about it was because of my employer, to access this one console, which is pretty powerful, so I understand why they want to protect it. But it makes me feel like the general character when he's trying to get into the super secret facility, scan it, scan his eyes, I think scan his hands, scan his butt, going overboard with the number of things. Because
it was farcical.
Oh, definitely farcical. I mean, that's why it's like I have to first tell my email address to my account. Then I have to give them a password. After the password, I have to do a pass key, which requires a YubiKey, which is a physical device which I put in my computer. I have to touch that. Then after I touch that, then I have to go on my phone and say, yes, I'm the person logging in. So it's like...
Wait, that sounds reasonable.
That's like, really?
No.
How many little things I have to do just to log in here? This is freaking this
Apparently
thing.
more.
Yeah, they could. I'm sure they could think of
Be
more
worse.
itself, but I hope that will not occur anytime in the future because it's already 4 pieces of information, possibly 3 different kind of passcodes things, passwords or pass keys or whatever to actually log in. And then of course, I said there's a notification. It goes, okay, it notifies my phone, and I have to say yes, that's me. Which invariably, I hate those kinds. I honestly prefer give me a pin. I'll type in the one-time code, and I'm happy. I'll be yeah, I prefer doing that. It's like doing the allow thing. It's like yeah, but the thing is, some people want them on their computer itself. It's like don't you didn't you just kind of violate part of the reason why you want to do that, which
Yeah, pretty
is
much.
it, to me because I'm willing to bet it's easier to hack a person's computer and log into their account from their computer than it is to try to do a log in and hack the person's phone and all that kind of thing. So whatever.
Well, when you're talking about executives who oversee IT folks, um, I don't think logic is something they hire on.
Yeah. But I understand why they're concerned. Anyway, let's wrap it up there. Jeff, I'm always glad to have you around. You
And
drive
enjoy
safely out
myself
there.
like usual. I'll
Yep.
do that. Good night,
Okay.
everybody.
Okay, good night. And Doug, it's always a pleasure to have you around, and can't wait for um, Gamers of Summer,
Oh
which
yeah, thanks. Oh,
will
and by
be
the way, Paul,
yes.
they also approved us having stuff for a birthday party on Saturday
Oh yeah, cool,
because
awesome.
Saturday is the one time out of 7 years that my birthday falls on the event because of the Monday holiday for Labor Day.
Wow,
Yeah.
awesome.
So yeah, there will be cake on Saturday, and for those who are listening who might want to participate or have an extra reason besides maybe playing some SFB with Paul or Barry or anybody else that shows up, um, Ashley has talked me into putting the dessert contest back into place for Saturday.
Awesome.
So I'm throwing that in there along with, cake. Not
Is
that
there
we will be biased
is
about
there
birthday cake versus anything else.
understood? Is there gonna be a theme for the dessert contest?
Gamer themed,
Just gamer
doesn't
themed. Okay.
matter. Yeah,
Just,
you could make a Halo cake. You could make a D&D cake. You could make a SFB cake. You could make SFB cookies,
mm-hmm.
and we could have little mounts that and put them out there as you could have asteroid chocolate chip cookies and throw out a big old asteroid field on a huge map, the big hex thing, and people would have to fly through it, and maybe if they mine them, they get the cookie. What do you think?
That reminds me of
And if they get blown up, somebody takes their cookie.
remembers Ken Burnside and his
His candy.
demos with the candy.
Oh yes, Squadron Strike.
Yep, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, haven't seen him out in years, but he doesn't live out here.
Yep.
So
True. Okay. Well, you have a good night.
you too. Thank you for having me on.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, bye. So, ladies, are they ladies? If they are, say hi. Just to know, let me know that you're out there. And gentlemen, I'm figuring most gamers or gentlemen, at least when it comes to Starfleet battles, I've only known 2 people that were women. Actually, now currently 3. 2 of them played Starfleet Warlord. One played it for like 1 game, and she was gone. I'm not. I forget. I'm not sure she had a lot of fun, and so she left. It's like, okay, well, thank you for trying out the game. And the other one, of course, was Vince. I forget his last name. Beth was his wife, and they played Starfleet battles together, which actually was kind of fun. Kind of neat to see them, and then they got divorced for good reason. But anyhow, let's not go down that road, shall we? Had a nice time talking about. I'm sorry, Peter, about your loss, and losing that game against Jeff. Not that a different kind of loss. That kind of loss. Okay, loss of playing the game. Let's stay focused here, people. Let's not go anywhere. Sorry. And of course, talk about wonderful monster, which is I think it's interesting. I didn't even realize at the time that we started talking about it actually was made of rock, which is interesting. And I like the challenge of it because of it starts with 4 pieces, then you have to start running around the board, so you're not focusing against just one monster. You have to you have multiple monsters which can be combined into one. And actually, as we were reading the background material there real quick, it seemed to me what interesting is like, okay, in theory, these monsters could be all over the galaxy. Possibly if someone lived and died, and they basically looked like asteroids, and you never would know that actually that was a dead monster. So anyway, with that, I am Paul Franz, and I bid you a good night.